Scott Fresener here with T-BizTV, and I'm talking to my good friend Charlie Taublieb. And Charlie, how's your Spanish today?
Bueno. That's it. You got all my Spanish, my one word.
You're in Mexico City doing consulting, I guess, and training.
Yeah, actually, I have two clients that I'm working with in their factories, and then I'm working with a supplier doing some seminars for them.
Now, when you go into a big factory, what do you do?
I do an analysis of the entire facility in terms of the screen print area. So I'll look at some of the prints that they've been having problems with, analyze them, figure out where the problems really originate, and then go through and start correcting those. And in general, I would go from the art department to the screen department to ink department, and then eventually end up in the production area, which is generally not where the biggest problems are. The biggest problems are usually caused prior to getting on press. And so,
I always found that when I did a little consulting, and I always found that they always want to blame the production guys, and it's never the production guys. It's always something up the line.
And it's easy to understand. They're the last ones to touch it, so they must be the ones who screwed it up.
Yeah, they bring you in to increase production and beat those guys up.
Yeah. And you know, in general, I've found that the art department usually creates a lot of the problems.
Yeah.
Because they look at the monitor, they say, hey, this looks so good. How come it looks like garbage when you print it? And it's like, how come you separate it like it was for paper?
Yeah.
And the bigger the shop, the worse it is, because they have so many people in their art department that have never really and truly understood the process. And in order to design properly, you really do need to have a pretty good understanding of the process itself.
Now, how big is the company you're consulting now?
Well, I'm working with two of them. One of them, both of them are vertical operations. So they do everything from knitting right through to finished product. So hundreds and hundreds of people in both of those. The second one, probably 1,000 people or more.
In the whole operation? Because they probably do knitting, dyeing, cut and sew, everything.
Well, the one I just did, a company called Baby Crazy. They do children's wear. They have some of their own stores. Probably about 20 designers, 3 big automatics, 2 small automatics, you know.
Now, because they're doing kids' clothes, are they doing much discharge and all over prints, or is it more fun stuff?
Actually, they are doing discharge work, and they're doing a lot of high-density stuff.
Oh, they are, really, for the kids' clothes?
Yep, they are. In Mexico, they still don't have the issue of valet-free, although the company is slowly going into that on their own.
Right.
They cater to the Mexican audience. They do not ship to the U.S., so they don't have to comply with what our demands are. And quite honestly, even some of our demands, I think, are a little absurd, but that's besides the point. I mean, what do I know? I'm a screen printer.
Yeah. Now, what are you seeing in other factories, though, as far as all over in discharge? I mean, I see so much of this stuff that doesn't want to go away. It's in all the stores.
It's definitely still a hot item. And as a matter of fact, that was one of the things that I showed them, was how to create an overall look without having to buy big machinery. And the second factory I'm going to is very large. And they do quite a bit of overall. Of course, a lot of these companies do cut parts. So for them to do an overall look is not as difficult as working on a finished product. But a lot of discharge, a lot of high density. Gels are that big thing in Mexico. They love gels. I don't understand why, but they just do. Probably because they don't print very well, and so they crush their high density ink. I'm serious. You know, one of the things that I pointed out to them was when you have a high density print and the print is curling, it's not puffed. It's supposed to lay flat.
Right.
And I mean, they mash it in. So we actually corrected a lot of that. But productivity is definitely not something that was very high in this particular shop, mostly because the guy who's now running it doesn't come from a screen print background, but is a numbers person, which is good. The difficulty is, you know, they aren't necessarily as straightforward with him as they should be, telling him, oh, no, this is the best we can do. Well, you know, when I was down there, he got to see what he could really do. And so there's going to be some pretty dramatic changes. Their numbers aren't quite high. They have no procedural situation for breaking down a machine, for setting up a machine. Those are all definitely the most important parts to me of an automatic shop is keeping that machine moving. And unfortunately, when you deal with countries that have inexperienced production managers, everyone wants to know what shops around the world are like. They are all very similar. The only difference is the language.
I know.
The problems are universal. I mean, it's an amazing thing, and it blew me away when I first started traveling out of the country, how if I woke up and was in the middle of the shop, other than being able to recognize some ethnicity, I wouldn't know where the hell I was. I could have been in the middle of Alabama or in the middle of New York. It wouldn't have made any difference in terms of, what went on.
Yeah. And let's talk about FESPA. You're going to do Charlie's Corner.
I am, and Fest was actually giving me a very large space, to be honest with you.
I look at the floor plan, I'm going, holy crap, he's got the whole show.
And it's all me. So if you want to come and occupy some space, I'd be happy to share with you.
Well, I'm just down the road from you, but you have two presses in your booth?
I have two presses, a dryer, a flash. I have a transfer machine, and I'm going to have an area set up where I do spraying and dipping and rolling.
Oh, you are? Really? Wow.
I am.
This is kind of ad-lib, a little session here, session there.
Totally. I decided, no one really cares to watch a man print. But everyone is fascinated when women print. And one of the things I like to do is push when I print rather than pull. And of course, 99% of the world pulls their squeegee. Well, my theory was if I could take a woman who's just walking by and get her to do the print that comes out perfect, two things are going to happen. The guys, number one, are going to stop because it's a woman printing. And two, they're going to question, why is she pushing? So I started doing all these sprays. And I mean, I had everyone at the show bringing shirts over. Can you spray this? Can you do that? So I allowed women to print in my booth, but I didn't allow men to print. They could watch. And if there were women who would print for them and give them a shirt, more power to them. But they weren't going to touch my machine.
Now, you work the booth alone.
I do.
Yeah.
I work my butt off at that booth. What I'm doing at FestPlay is exactly that, but instead of only women print for free, but men have to make a donation. Oh, come on, it's for charity. I wanted it to be Charlie's charity, but they wouldn't let me do that part.
It's funny. Before I called you, I was thinking about our buddy Charlie Leach, because I think about him quite often, because poor Charlie Leach back in the early 90s was trying to sell water basin discharge, and nobody wanted to hear it. And then Charlie got kicked off, retired off to his lily farm and his kois or whatever he's doing, and now the world has gone discharge. I think it's such a crime.
It is. And it's interesting. I've been trying to get in touch with him. He is like the master of how you can't get to me.
Well, I think he walked away from the industry.
I went through websites and everything.
Yeah, he walked away. He just left. He was so ticked off that nobody wanted to listen to discharge or water.
I mean, he was a man in front of, way before his time.
Oh, way before his time, yeah.
And right now, he would be the master.
He'd be in heaven.
I mean, I have a bunch of his stuff still, where it's water-based on spandex and lycra, it stretches, it's water-based on nylon, it's reflectives on nylon. I mean, all these things that nobody can figure out how to do right now.
He was doing all that stuff. Hey, do you have your glasses?
I do.
Here, remember years ago they called us, they thought we looked the same. Now, you with your goatee probably looks different, because I had my beard, you had your beard, I had hair, you had hair.
And I still have some of the brochures that have both of us in it from your company.
Right.
And I got to tell you, when I thumb through it, I could make the mistake.
Well, the story we've always told is my son Michael years ago called you across the bar, called you Dad, thinking you were.
Yeah, well, yeah. So actually, I was in your house. He tugged on me and said, "Dad," and then he looked up and realized this isn't the guy that I live with.
Yeah, for years I had people say, "Yeah, came to your workshop in Denver." I'm going, "That wasn't me, that was Charlie." And or I just came from your seminar. I go, "Well, that wasn't me, that was Charlie." So anyway, listen, you have a good time, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. We go back 30 years, probably or more.
We actually met at the show in London, the ISS show in London,
with Trevor and Mark Yates.
1981 or so, 82. No, it had to be 81. Because I took the job in Denver in 82, flying out to see you.
Yeah, I think it was 81. Yeah.
So, 29 years ago.
Well, anyway, nice. It's always good talking to you, my buddy.
I'll
see you in Munich.
Looking forward to it. Have a good. Say hi to Pat for me.
All right, beers on me. That's my good friend Charlie Taublieb calling me from Mexico, and we're going to be talking to Charlie in Munich also. Thanks for watching.